Everybody see the agenda all right?
Yes.
Thanks, Camille, for putting the structure together on this one. So I don't know, has everybody had a chance to read it, or should we run through it real quick?
Let's maybe focus on blockers.
Nope. Let someone else in. So
Yeah, from my track, first one, I would like Camille and Kenny to review testing on production plan because it's production. And I just wanted to ask if we are ready to enable cost factors or we are not, because I currently don't understand this moment. So I think we are blocked by not able to turn on runners cost factors, right?
It really depends. I guess it really depends on what we actually want to test. Like from my perspective, I would really like hold off with testing on production till we have track 2.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Track 3, because then I would expect that we're gonna have to rerun all our testing when we finish track 3. And I would rather prefer us to do it once and like well. And
yeah, okay.
Basically start rolling out the feature in some limited fashion.
Yeah, okay.
all right, into the blockers below.
Which raises actually a very good point. We need SRM person. Would Alex be? Alex, would you be the right person to work with us on testing that?
I joined late, so we're talking about testing the the cost factor. Yeah, I can help y'all with that.
Okay, so so basically we're gonna have a team of Alexi and Alex working on test. Oh, Kyle, you could probably be included in this as well on testing cost factors on the production environment. It's gonna be probably the team of 3 doing that.
Okay, but we are going to do it after track 3, right?
Yes, this would be my suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
And it might be better to replace me with Joanna or one of the QEMs that are kind of over the CI, CD, like at least Joanna, and see if she wants to delegate to a member of her team instead of me. I would love to help. I just think I'm probably not the best person.
Okay, like whatever really like works for you, but like making you fully aware of what we are doing
Yes.
and the impact. I think this is what we want to achieve. That like we have a counterparty from development, from the infrastructure, and from the quality.
Mac, do you have any suggestions on who we should loop in for that?
What's the criteria for testing? Is it actually testing the functionality of the runners, or is this making sure our accounting is correct and data is flowing in? What is the?
It's both. It's both. So we are testing 2 sides. We are both testing that we are actually started to account these minutes, and we are testing, I believe, that our runners would not pick up those public projects that exceeded its limits. For the task, we'll create a separate dedicated test environment. I mean, test group with our projects, I believe. We have a feature flag, so it would not, ideally, it would not roll out over all GitLab. It would, these restrictions would roll out only on our group.
Okay. So I agree with Kyle. If it's more on the functionality of the runners and testing of that sorts, we can delegate it to the ops and CI/CD quality team. But if it's just monitoring, I don't think there's much that we need to take action on. But just making sure that the things flow and that nothing is stalled in running jobs. And I think the quality team is already dogfooding in none of these. Like we try to pipelines every day, and if something is not running, we know immediately if it's not running. Kyle, is that more an accurate assessment?
Yeah, but I think this is related to tests in a different environment. So we're not monitoring like pipelines and staging or anything like that. So I think, and I might be wrong here, but when it gets to production, we would be able to catch it for sure when it gets to GitLab.com. But as far as validating the change, that's where I think Joanna can find someone from the team to help.
We don't have a counterpart for runner. So I would ping Joanna and ask her for the best person. It's probably Dan Davidson or Seth, who's doing stuff in the CI realm.
I will take the action to do that. Sorry, Camille, go ahead.
So like Mike, to give you like some hint, like we're not gonna touch runner on its own. Like Alex gonna provision the new infrastructure for us, but like what we are testing, it's part of the GitLab.com logic, the main application. So it's not that something is affecting runner behavior, it's rather affecting how we consume events generated by runner within the main GitLab application. So there is like separate GitLab runner infrastructure that is responsible for running actual compute, but what we are actually implementing is part of the GitLab application, part of the business logic, to account what resources you are using and whether we can hand off you more resources based on the criteria, like a quota, to give you like a better perspective what we actually gonna be doing.
Okay, but it's still the integration of the runner and the GitLab code base, correct? That when the data is coming in, the quota.
Yes. So yes, like we're gonna be doing changes on GitLab.com, but this gonna not affect like actual compute being executed. Only like GitLab.com database, for example.
Okay. I would ask Joanna on the best SET to help out here. But yeah, I agree that that team should be involved.
Okay, and on the ETA, I think was that Alexi that put the plan on being out May 4th and 5th?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
mine.
Overall, and maybe this is a question we can ask at the end, but are we feeling like this will be completed and wrapped up by the 18th, which is the goal for this, for the overall efficiency improvements? Are there any concerns at this point in time that we will not meet the 18th?
I like the biggest blank point at this moment, I think, is like communication to our users, customers, and things like that. We're gonna be able to test a limited fashion like initially, but before like we communicate this change, like we cannot really fully roll out that feature. So there is an associated risk that we may run into some kind of problem. Like we are still did not announce that to the public. And there is also like this confusing element like from Alexi. If I understood correctly, you only said the public for XPO to 18.4 will be able to use unlimited amount of minutes. But so far we kind of discussed it was that like this limit gonna apply to all regardless of the join date. So I think at this moment for me like the rollout of the feature, like the biggest issue is like announcement, because we likely need a few days of like this period, like we announce, then we start testing on the full scale of the system, how the system behaves, and we may need to tune the behavior of the system to ensure that it works properly. Because like we're gonna test the feature on, let's say, on the GitLab organization or like GitLab.com. We're not gonna run the feature system yet. So that like we are anticipating any problems with that. but there is always an associated risk that running system-wide has a different performance characteristic. So we cannot really enable the system-wide before announcement. We can only enable the feature in a limited scope to our projects before announcement.
So if we're kind of walking backwards from the 18th, how much time do you want to have? And we're down to 18 days now, 18 calendar days. I don't know how many business days that is, but when would you want the announcement to go out? Or does it need to be after a certain milestone is reached? Like we have tested it all internally, like we finished track 3 and we've tested internally, then the announcement goes out? Or do we want to target a date so that we know we have enough time to get it out to production?
So May 18th deadline. If you say that this is the communication to our customer, can you pretty fine or pretty bad?
It's pretty bad for me. I don't know about anybody else.
So I briefly checked the calendar. It's only 2 weeks. So after this long weekend, next week, and the following Monday is the 18th.
Yeah.
But if any company,
maybe somebody knows, but I don't understand why did we announce it in stages? Wouldn't it sound a bit weird that previously we announced that every project created prior to this date would save the quota, and now we're announcing that everything is being counted? How is it going to be put in board? I wonder. So why do we make this decision in 2 steps? I don't understand, to be honest. Do you know any idea behind this 2-stage announcement?
Camille, I think you're still muted.
Okay, I don't. Can you hear me better now?
Yes, yes, better.
Okay, so I don't really know about the politics behind this announcement, but going back correct to your question, if we say that our communication, we say that we start the meeting on May 18th, our communication says from that on, we start accounting public projects, basically. I guess we need somewhere around up to 1 week to ensure that we fully roll out the feature if there is no problems. If we have to ship one small change, it's gonna be 2 weeks for us to ship a change and roll out to the production. So we are looking from the day of the announcement. In the best scenario, 1 day. In the worst scenario, I guess something about 2 weeks.
Yeah. So in the May 18th deadline, we'll push it back to Kenny to figure out what needs to be delivered on that date. Do we just need to have that functionality, right? Because these are efficiency improvements. Or does that May 18th date mean that it needs to be in production, fully announced, rolled out, and customers understand? So there's some clarification that needs to take place there. All I know is May 18th is that efficiency improvement deadline. So I'll ping Kenny on this one.
Yeah, so pretty much we are done with shipping all aspects. It's not really part of the rollout, but the rollout is kind of right now start by the system-wide rollout, because we have a plan for the testing, production, traffic rollout. It's kind of start by the communication aspect, but it's still confusing and unclear for us.
Craig, is it easier to test it on our projects first? Because I thought we identified 39 projects, right? That needs to be shifted over.
You mean this calculation stuff? I would say, yeah, we would like to test it on our projects. I mean, on our dedicated group, because we want to make sure we run pipeline, we see the difference in accumulated minutes. I usually create a dedicated group. I did it on staging.
Yeah, so Mike, I think like how our testing gonna look like, we like next week when, or like someone later, when we have the track third done, we're gonna enable feature for our group, and we're gonna start accounting our group. And this is gonna be like our biggest test that we're gonna be conducting. So we don't expect any visible impact, but we may need to adjust number of the minutes in that group to ensure that we don't hit the current limit. But this is pretty simple change to do from the namespace edit in the admin area to bump the limit on the group. We are assuming that we survive. If we survive GitLab, like GitLab org and GitLab.com, nothing really can gonna break us system-wide.
Thanks for that. Okay, are we good on that? So I think you're more worried about the dates, correct? And to see if what is the actual checkbox that we need to do for the 18th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I ping Kenny on that one, so I think we're good there. Any other topics to cover? See, Alex added ETA for the GitLab Docker shared runners manager, staging ready, adding it to GitLab today. Are there any other blockers we need to cover?
This came up as an organic conversation with me and Kyle, but there is this lingering problem in infrastructure, or maybe development as well, on the out-of-space CI artifacts upload. Kyle, if you recall, is it affecting the internal shared runners?
So it's decreased. There was a change that the SRE, I think Matt did, to change how often the VMs are cycled. But initially, late last week, we noticed that there was a correlating increase in the amount of disk bowl failures with this change, where we were moving more executors over to the private runners. So I think for now, like in the last few days, that's really subsided quite a bit. So instead of like 20 failures per day in master alone, I think there's 1 to 2, if that. So it's not as big of a deal anymore, but it was kind of an interesting correlation, I would say, just to note with moving to the GitLab org private runners.
Okay, is it something that this group should be aware of if during testing? The accounting is correct, but then we're failing builds on those runners. It's something we should be. Do you think it's going to be something you need to? It's going to affect us, or is it the correlation says it's unlikely?
Yeah, I would say it's unlikely, because my understanding is that it was our private runners, so it was the ones that we are consuming, and the new runners that are being created. I don't think the concurrent builds is the same as just the GitLab org private runner. So I don't think it's going to impact the testing. And like I said, the impacts to ongoing work have gone down drastically in the last few days.
So Kyle and Mike, if you have some more issue about this particular problem, there is like a number of ways that we can structurally address that. So like it's part of the problem of the lack of the cleanup, which can be, I believe, solved orthogonally to what we are doing today to improve overall the stability.
Okay, I can add it to the agenda and share it in our Slack channel, but there is an issue. Let me track it down.
Yeah, we do have an issue. I was trying to find it, and my thought was to make sure all of you are aware. If it's not going to be affecting us, then I think that's fine. We can reduce the attention to that. Move on. Okay,
so Alex, I believe then like we're not gonna likely do it this week, but then like we need to. Alex, do we have somewhere the issue like to rotate the tags assigned to the shared runners, because we added this GitLab org Docker, I guess we need to roll out a change that's gonna move that's gonna make us remove that tag and add to the runner that you are now adding. And we may need to be conscious about doing that. So maybe like we do it early next week.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to. Okay, so here's a question. When I add them to .com, should they get the GitLab org tag right away, or should we do that next week?
You mentioned you wanted to say GitLab org Docker.
GitLab org Docker. Yes, that is. Yes, that's what I meant.
I guess it's really like I think I would try. Like we're gonna see, like Kyle gonna see if we see like increase in the pipeline values. If we don't gonna see, it's gonna be fine.
Good point. Yeah.
But like I would simply try. In the worst case scenario, you can basically pause the runner. If we see any problems, and we're gonna get back to it next week to rise and repeat and like fix the outstanding problems to not create additional pressure at this moment.
Yeah, sounds good then.
Kai, do you know what we're gonna be doing, or probably a little?
From a monitoring perspective?
So Alex is adding GitLab Docker Shared Runner Manager. You remember that we started
the tags,
switching our projects to use GitLab org and GitLab org Docker tag. Alex gonna add a new runner manager with this tag exposed. We are probably unsure a little if it's gonna cause like an issues for our projects or not. So it should not, but we should probably monitor if we see increase in number of the failures when you have GitLab org Docker, and if we see, we're just gonna pause this runner and repeat next week.
Okay. Yeah. We have lots of jobs in the GitLab pipeline that's monitored closely by engineering productivity, which should pick that up. And we can look to see if there's additional monitoring that we put in place. But yeah, my apologies. I understood the kind of rollout plan there. I just wasn't sure if you were referring to our monitoring or not.
Yes, because like, to be fair, if we do it, and if we remove GitLab org Docker from the general purpose shared runners, we are then really like free to start with Alexi testing the feature. So then like we have very good timeline on like testing and figuring out the communication aspect. And also figuring out how much time we actually need to roll out the feature.
I see. Okay.
We're coming up on time. So is there any other action items we need to write down to follow up on this week?
Let's maybe add to this list the GitLab org Docker tag, because this is going to be a change that's going to be, I believe, introduced today, right?
What was that again? GitLab org Docker tag?
Yes. So like what we're gonna do, we're gonna enable GitLab shared runners, GitLab shared Docker runners manager on GitLab.com. That's gonna start picking up the CI builds for GitLab org and GitLab.com organization.
You said that runner's getting set up today?
Alex, is it gonna be today or like next week?
It should be today. I'm finalizing right now the configuration we want to use, and then should add it probably within the next couple hours, but definitely before the end of the day.
Is anyone concerned with tomorrow being Friends and Family Day, kind of rolling that change out today if something goes wrong, kind of pulling back?
So always worried about that. But so we can, I want to add them to GitLab.com today anyway. We can not add the tag, which means they'll just hang out, not pick up any jobs. We can add the tag briefly for today and turn it off tonight, like before the end of the day, so we can see how it does, but not leave it potentially over the weekend.
Yeah, why don't we do that, Alex? And I there's no one else from the EP team, but if you need help, like making sure that builds are hitting that shared runner pool, let me know and we can track them down. Okay.
Excellent. Sounds good.
Thanks, Kyle. I think that's the most impactful thing to do in this iteration. That's testing that tag from what I'm reading here.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend. Enjoy the family day.